Hey, what's going on, beautiful people? We are here. It's a beautiful day, and I just felt inspired to get on YouTube Live and just have some fun because I was having some inspirations flow through me as I was shooting some basketball earlier. So I wanted to share them with you because I thought they could be very helpful for your life and your own expansion and growth. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, what's up? My name is David Lyon. This channel is all about ascension and growth and expansion and giving you the tools that you need for your life so that you can experience a life of magic, so you can live life more effortlessly and experience more joy and more purpose, more fulfillment. And for those of you who are returning to the channel, what's up? It's good to see you again. I see some people signing in. What's good? What's good? Give me a second, taking a little water. So I'm a little out of breath because I was just playing basketball. So let me catch my breath a second here. So thank you, Esteban. Loving my channel, watching from Costa Rica. Thank you. I appreciate you. So what I wanted to talk about today is this new lesson that my guides have been teaching me about that I kind of stumbled into accidentally. And this lesson is called the slight advantage. And what this will allow you to do, if you choose to own it, if you choose to embody it, it will allow you to really quickly accelerate your life onto the optimal path. And it'll allow you to, I almost want to say, bypass unnecessary drama and heaviness and things like that. Yeah, because I know sometimes the word bypass has a negative association, but I really mean it in a positive way. It's kind of like steering clear of things. And this will just, it's been a game changer in my life. And I literally just discovered this. So let me tell you a little bit about what the slight advantage is. And later on, if you have questions, I'll answer questions. So firstly, the other day, I'll tell you where this came from because this will really tune you into it. The other day, maybe a couple of days ago, a week ago, I was supposed to have a meeting. I was supposed to have a team meeting, for Living Magic, which is my movement. I was supposed to have a team meeting, and I was really excited to have this meeting. And as you know, if you've been listening to my channel at all, excitement is the language of our higher self. So when we feel excitement towards a certain direction, that means that we should go that way because that's our higher self saying this way, right? But the subtlety with that is to go in that direction with no insistence or expectation on how the outcome is supposed to play out. All right, and that's the subtlety that a lot of people could tend to miss. So I had a lot of excitement towards doing this meeting. And what ended up happening is right as we were about to have our meeting, and we're going to do it virtually through Zoom, I just got a funny feeling. Like, it wasn't a bad feeling, but it just didn't feel, it wasn't a good feeling either. I just had a funny feeling about doing the meeting, and I was just like, I'm like, all right, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe, I don't know, thoughts are getting in the way or something like that. So I had asked one of the other people on my team, I'm like, hey, how do you feel about having the meeting? Like, what's your intuition say? And, and he tuned into it, and he was just like, he's like, yeah, it feels exciting for me. Let's do it. I'm like, okay, cool. And so now at this point, just to paint the picture, I had my excitement wanting to have the meeting. I personally, as a human, wanted to have the meeting. And my friend's intuition was like, let's have the meeting. So there were three things in that direction. But yet something felt a little funny. So what I decided to do is, because I still had maybe like 15, 20 minutes before the meeting, I decided to just go take a quick shower. And while I was taking the shower, I really tuned into it, and I decided to let everything go, to just give myself a blank canvas so I could really feel the clear frequencies of what the universe is attempting to speak to me. And when I tuned into it and I asked them, like, should I do this meeting? The answer was just no. And there was no details that came with it. It was just no. And so it was a bit of at first I was just like, okay, I'm like, do I listen to that? Because it was a very slight intuition. That's the thing. I'm very receptive to intuition. I'm very naturally intuitive, but this was a very slight, very subtle intuition. And like I said, I had all this excitement built up towards having the meeting. So my own personal desires were kind of getting in the way in that sense. And so I decided to weigh out my options, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to listen to this slight intuition, and I'm going to cancel the meeting. And so I texted everybody and I'm just like, let's do it tomorrow. And when I said that, the people on my team were like, they're like, good leadership, bro. That, actually I wasn't feeling complete when I gave that intuition, and it feels like you made the right decision. So immediately I got a confirmation from my reality that things were great. But here's where things get interesting. When I called off the meeting, my guides, all my spirit guides popped in and they were just shocked. They had this shocked look on their face. They were like celebrating. I'm like, what's up? They're like, we did not expect you to do that. They were showing me there was a 10% chance that I would have made that choice because I already had so much momentum and so much desire in this direction that there was a 90% chance of me going this way because of all the energy built into it, and a 10% chance of me taking the slight advantage that was showing up. And so they were telling me that even they didn't expect me to make this choice. And so when I did, I just felt super celebrated, and I felt really good, and it ended up leading to the best flow, and just brought more fun into my life. And I saw how I bypassed what could have been a heavy and maybe dramatic meeting that wouldn't have been my highest excitement, and instead I just had a phenomenal night of like all kinds of extra and unexpected fun. So this opened up this gateway to me doing this thing, this idea of the slight advantage. Just opened up the gateway to it. And then a few days later, I was sitting on the balcony and I was just enjoying nature. Like I'm here in Montreal, and I'm on like this beautiful 20-acre property of just nature and forest and beauty. And I was sitting on the balcony and I was just in bliss. The sun was on me. I was high because I had just smoked some weed, and I was perfect. I was in a really 10 on 10 amazing state. And then all of a sudden, my guides pop in, and there's this huge boulder that's in the distance. Like it's a little bit of a walks away. There's this huge boulder that I can see on the distance, and I get a very slight intuition that was like, go meditate on the boulder. And when it came in, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, I could see how that could be powerful, but I'm really good over here. Like I'm super comfy. And so again, there was like a strong amount of my energy that was just pretty cool with just staying put. But then what I became aware of was how there was, and this is important, I became aware of how there was a timing window for me to act on that intuition. So when I was told to go meditate on the rock in front of me, however far it was in front of me, there was also a timing window. It wasn't just like I can go do that tomorrow or I could go do that in an hour. It felt like a good like 5-minute window. Like I have 5 minutes to act on this, regardless of how comfy I am. Otherwise, I'm gonna miss the moment. So but the window was closing. So I was just like, oh my God. But I knew it was a slight advantage. And so even though I was comfy and I felt 10 on 10 and I felt great, I decided to listen. So I got up, got my stuff, and I walked all the way down to the boulder and I sat down. And literally the second I sat down and closed my eyes, I had the most profound experiences and activations and awakenings and downloads and messages. Like it was like better than an ayahuasca trip or a DMT experience. It was just a really powerful experience. And the details of what happened don't so much matter for the story. And it was also just, there was a lot. But what this showed me was, I'm like, had I not taken that little window, that slight advantage, I would have missed that profound experience. And that was by far one of the most profound meditation experiences I've had in at least a decade, at least 10 years, easily, hands down. And so it showed me that there's something really to this. And this is what I wanted to share with you guys now that I've shared the story, is that there's really something to this whole idea of taking the slight advantage, even if it doesn't make sense to your mind, or even if it seems like you have to really go out of your way. Because oftentimes we can receive intuitions that are like, go for a walk right now, or call this person, or go meditate over there. But in your current state, you might just be like, I'm comfy. I'm pretty good over here. Like, oh, okay, I get the intuition. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow, or whatever the case may be. Or maybe your logic is fighting it. Maybe you're like, yeah, but why would I do that? Like, why would I just go for a walk? I can't make sense of it. And this is where it's important to understand that your intuition is your future self. It's your future self speaking to you saying, hey, come this way. I know how things are going to happen. So if you follow this intuition, it'll lead to the highest outcome. And so when you choose to not only act on your intuition, that's one level of the game. I always recommend two things. Every moment that you can, act on your intuition and your inspiration, because that's the language of your higher self, your future self, God, whatever label you want to put on that. But on top of that is to pay attention to the slight intuitions that you might receive that are giving you the slight advantage that doesn't seem to make sense, and it comes in very subtly, very small, and and just as quickly as it wisps in, it could wisp back out. To pay attention to those subtle wisps of intuition and to act on it just to show yourself the magic that can unfold, because this is really where magic meets life, right? This is the art of living magic. This is magic speaking to you, wisdom, God, whatever word you want to put, speaking to you, saying, if you act on this, I will show you magic and you will love it. And this has been a huge game changer for me. It's been a huge game changer because I'm already someone who lives a really great life. I'm very blissful naturally as a person at this point. Just lots of ease in my reality, lots of fulfillment, lots of excitement. And this has been another level up. This has been an upgrade to even that, which has, taken me from moving this speed to moving that speed, which I call the speed of spirit or the speed of light. All right, so that's a slight advantage, guys. That's what I wanted to share with you because I felt it could be helpful, because I'm sure that there's a good few of you on here, maybe even all of you, who have been receiving these slight intuitions, these slight splashes of inspiration that are just like, go do this. But then your mind interferes with the intuition and you go, why? Yeah, but that doesn't make sense. Nah. And you talk yourself out of the divine download that just came in, right? So my invitation to you is to pay attention to this in your reality. And maybe even ask yourself now, have you been receiving any slight intuitions that don't seem to make sense, but it's an intuition. It has a sense of like, it just dropped in. It doesn't seem to make sense. It's a sense of knowing. My invitation to you is to follow that, to act on it, and just to see what happens with no expectation, just for the fun of following that intuition. That will not only bring more abundance and wealth and joy into your reality, but it'll just bring more. It'll bring your gifts more online. It'll tune you more into your spirituality and your soul level gifts, because you're acting on the energy of your soul. So therefore, it tunes you more into your soul level gifts. All right. So I thought this would be useful for you guys. Now I'm going to take a look at the questions to see if there's anything that you want me to speak to in this. But hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Let's see. Oh, thank you guys for smashing that like button. I do appreciate it. Every time you hit the like button, it helps me out. It helps out the channel. So thank you for doing so. Let's see if there's any. Happy you find my voice calming, Shoshana. Must be the hypnotist in me. So Brenisha says, I'm very intuitive, but I'm imbalanced. So when I do receive intuitive messages, I don't know how to act on it. Cool. That's a great. So I feel like a lot of people could relate to this. So if you feel like you're very intuitive, but also imbalanced, the thing to pay attention to is the texture of the messages you're receiving. And by texture, I mean, when you receive an intuition, does it feel light or does it feel heavy? Or does it feel completely neutral? When it feels light and it's just like a light wisp, that texture is letting you know it's going to lead to a lighter reality. It's going to bring more light into your body. It's going to lead to lighter feelings, lighter thoughts, lighter actions, enlightenment, right? If you receive an intuition and it feels heavy, that doesn't mean that you didn't receive an intuition. It just means that your mind's getting in the way as well. So a basic rule of thumb that you can use is to remember that you only have two emotional states, ones that make you feel heavier and ones that make you feel lighter. Anytime you receive information or every time you think a perspective or come to a conclusion or an intuition from a state that feels heavy, like you come to a conclusion and you feel heavy about it, even if you feel justified, like, oh, that person screwed me over, like, they messed up because they did so and so and so, all that stuff could be true. Everything you're saying could be true. But if you feel heavy while saying it and coming to that conclusion, it means there's something you're not seeing. It means that there's somewhere where you're not taking full responsibility for your reality, for your universe. And maybe you're enabling that thing to happen again and again and again, or whatever the case may be. So on the flip side, if you receive a message, an intuition, a thought, a conclusion, a perspective, and you're in a lighter state, you feel light about what you just received, you feel light about the conclusion you came to, that means you're aligned. That means you're aligned with your spirit, with your soul, and what you're receiving is accurate. It's on point. Alternatively, when you just receive a neutral sense of knowing, that's also a great confirmation. So for example, there's a big difference between the woman who's just like very calmly, who's just like, I know my boyfriend's cheating on me. I could just feel it. And she says it from like that neutral sense of knowing. That calm, neutral sense of knowing is your intuition speaking. Now, on the flip side, that means you're accurate, basically. On the flip side, if it's an insecurity that gets triggered and it's like, I know he's cheating with me, he's with her, I know it, I could just feel it, but you're feeling like chaotic and heavy on the inside, then you're off. You're not aligning with your inner being. You're not aligning with your inner wisdom and tuning into that radio station so that you can get clear information. All right, so hopefully that's helpful so that you can correct or adjust your imbalances as they come up. What I always suggest to people is, if you're not clear, if for any reason you're not clear on the thought or the intuition that you're having, or if you're in an imbalanced state or a heavier state, to take a moment and, instead of trying to figure things out and to push and to stress, take a moment to move in the direction of a lighter feeling. Move in the direction of a lighter feeling. What do I mean by that? Well, that means if arguing with your spouse is making you feel heavy and you're trying to figure things out together and you're battling and you're arguing, that's a heavy direction. But if you feel into what would feel lighter and you're like, okay, what's the direction of a lighter feeling? And it's just like, you know what? That lighter feeling might be, let's let this go for now. Let's take a breather and let's just take a little bit of a break. And then you moved in the direction of a lighter feeling, you let it go. And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to go for a walk because that feels like a lighter feeling. Then you go even more towards a lighter feeling. By doing so, you're going to be lighting yourself up, bringing more light into your body. You're enlightening yourself so that when you follow the lighter feeling, then you can see more clearly, because as you lighten yourself up, you're going to lighten up your thoughts and you're going to lighten up your emotions rather than coming from the more toxic place. All right. So as a practice, always, and I mean, I do this eternally, always move in the direction of a lighter feeling, because that's your inner guidance guiding you towards more of your light body, more of your lighter reality, more clarity, more inspiration, more guidance. Because the idea is this: if you're in a state that feels here, you feel heavy, and what you're looking for is clarity, which exists on this vibration, clarity, inspiration, joy, all those things, guidance, you're not going to reach it from this state. You're not going to reach it through the argument. You're not going to reach it through stressing. You're not going to meet it through frustration. So the idea is to get your mind out the way, check yourself and be like, okay, let me be responsible for my feelings. Let me be responsible for my universe and move in the direction of a lighter feeling. Let me let go of trying to work on this thing because I'm getting nowhere. Okay, I let go. I feel a little bit better. Let me make myself some food. Let me go for a walk. Let me run a bubble bath. And the next thing you know, as you get into a lighter state, as soon as you click into this vibration, automatically you'll receive inspiration, clarity, realizations, revelations. That's how these things happen. They're not as spontaneous as you might think. They just exist on a very light vibration of reality. So the more you can maintain your personal vibration in the lighter spectrum, then you're always in tune with clarity and realization and inspiration and guidance. It's infinite. It's not spontaneous. All right, so it's important to note that it's not a spontaneous thing that happens. It's just a vibrational move. You have to move in the direction of a lighter feeling. This is the art of enlightenment. All right, let's see if there's any other questions over here. Do women have a more like sense intuition? And what about men? What up, Kyle? So both women and men have an equal sense of intuition because both women and men have female and male energy that run through them. So there is both female intuition, female energy intuition, which is more like go with the flow, leading the way through flow. And then there's the masculine intuition, which is more leadership. It's more direction. It's more like, okay, do this now, that kind of thing. So the idea, it's not about are women more intuitive than men or men than women. It's just how in tune with you are with your divine feminine and masculine energies. That's more the question. So it's getting really in tune with your heart, with your feelings, with your emotions. For example, if you're someone who contains all your emotions and you don't let yourself be expressed, and you because you think your anger is bad and you think your rage is bad and you think whatever emotions inside you are bad, and so you keep them contained and suppressed, then what you're literally doing is you're not allowing your emotions to flow. You're not, by keeping them contained, you're not allowing them to release and to detox from you, because only by letting them flow can you allow new flows, such as intuition, to flow through you. Okay, that's the feminine energy approach. It's recognizing that there's not a single emotion that you have that's bad. And if you don't believe me, ask your emotions. Take a second, go inside. If you have anger in you, ask your anger, like, are you bad? So if you want to do this now, you can take a second. If you have an emotion in you that's uncomfortable, that's been bothering you, take a second. Give yourself the space to close your eyes, to tune into whatever emotion might be there, and to simply ask it, are you bad? And notice what response you get. Notice that your emotions can speak to you. And I guarantee you, the answer is no. The only thing that feels bad about it is your resistance to the emotion. It's not the emotion that feels bad. It's your resistance to the emotion that makes it feel bad. If you had no resistance, if you had no judgment on it, then it would just feel like vibration. It would just feel like feeling. One of my favorite teachers, Bashar, says, someone asked him, what's your favorite song? And his response was, whatever vibration I'm feeling in the moment. Which I just thought was such a genius response, because he's basically saying that whatever feeling he's feeling in the moment, whatever vibration he's feeling in the moment, that's his favorite song. He enjoys it. He's in harmony with it. And so if you're someone who contains your emotions, there's a lot of power in allowing those things to be expressed, in just allowing yourself to be heard, to be seen. And then by doing so, you're allowing the energy to flow so you can feel more of the flow of energy. So that's the female dance of intuition. All right. And the masculine dance of intuition is all about taking action. It's when you have an inspiration, when you have an intuition that's leading you in a direction, it's taking action on it regardless of how the path looks and regardless of what your mind tells you, regardless of what your logic tells you. Because the only purpose of your logic is to make a decision based on your intuition. That's the only purpose of your logic. Because if your logic, if your logic is excluding your intuition, then it's not being very logical. Because how is it logical to take an action or make a decision without taking everything into account? It doesn't make sense. That's not logical. So the only purpose of your logic is to make a decision based on your intuition. All right, that's the union. That's the meeting of the masculine and the feminine. The logic is masculine, the intuition feminine. So they're joining in that sense. So masculine intuition is all about self-leadership, stepping into what you're being called forth to, recognizing that if you have an inspiration, if you have an intuition to start something, to create something, to do an event, whatever case may be, you're receiving that intuition or inspiration because you're ready for it. You wouldn't receive something you're not ready for. You might in your mind tell yourself like, oh, but I'm not ready, I'm afraid, I'm shy, I don't know where I'm going to get the people, no one's going to like me. And that's all your ego talking. That's all your smaller mind. But remember, your higher self, God, your guides, they don't make mistakes like that. So if you're receiving an intuition or an inspiration, it's because you're ready for it right now. And the idea is to act on it right now. That's taking the slight advantage to come full circle. All right. So this is where we must make the union of our masculine and feminine energies and to embody our intuition so that you just become an emanation of living, breathing magic. Your videos have changed my life for the good. I'm very happy to hear that, Sharik. Hey, Judy's on here. What up, Judy? All right, let's see if there's any other questions here. Do I believe in cosmic beings? Yes, of course, because we're all cosmic beings. You're a cosmic being. And I know what you're talking about. You're talking about like angels and spirit guides and ascended masters. And yes, I not only believe in them, I know in them. I speak to them, I communicate with them. They're my homies, and so they're very real. The way that you can, the most simplest way you can get in tune with these beings, because I know there's a lot of stuff on YouTube that's a lot of fluff, right? Binaural beats to open your third eye, but warning, this is very powerful. Like, oh, I hate seeing that stuff. I'm like, oh, this is so bad. But let me give you a really practical way to get in tune with these cosmic beings, with your spirit guides, with the angels. First of all, the difference between your angels and your spirit guides is your angels come every single time you ask for them. When you ask for your angels, they are there instantly. Whether you're fully aware of it or not, they instantly respond. And generally, you'll feel like a presence, a loving presence. You'll feel a sense of support. You might feel shivers in your body. You might feel a shift in sensations in your body. But if you take a second to pay attention, even right now, if you go ahead and to call in your angels, ask for all your highest angels to come in right now. Notice the shift that you feel around you. Notice the shift in textures. Notice what sensations you feel. They come in instantly. They're always there to support. Now, your guides, I can feel a few of you just like, whoa. Now, your guides, they also always listen and support. However, they act a little differently because they have certain instructions. The purpose of your guides is to help you to become a better guide of yourself. So if, for example, your spirit guides have given you a message, they've given you guidance, they've told you to leave that job or leave that relationship or to create that thing or whatever it is, if they've given you that message already and you haven't acted on it, then they have no reason to continue to give you more guidance. Because why would they give you more if you haven't even acted on the little thing that they've given you, right? So it might seem to you like they're not there. You're like, my guides aren't here. Why haven't they showed up? But they're just like, no, you just didn't act on the guidance that we've already given you. You're wanting more confirmation. You're wanting more validation, but they don't want to disempower you. Remember, their purpose is to make you a better guide of yourself. So the more that you act on the guidance that you receive, then you're going to get more in tune with your guides, because then they could talk more to you. They can give you more synchronicities. They can give you more intuitions. So the idea is to get more in tune with cosmic beings is to, again, act on every piece of guidance, intuitive guidance, every inspiration, your excitement. Act on these higher frequencies, because the more you do so, you're going into a lighter vibration. And all these cosmic beings, they exist on lighter frequencies. So when you're over here, you might receive the inspirations and intuitions. And then as you come up here, all of a sudden you can see them, you can hear them, you can talk to them, you can go visit their realities. And that's where life becomes really fun. That's what I love to do. I talk to what you're calling the cosmic beings all the time. All right. So the easy and practical way of doing this is to act on whatever inspirations and intuitions that you already have, whatever guidance you already have inside of you. If you know that there's something that you're supposed to do, that you're meant to do, but you've been telling yourself, not yet, I'm waiting, it's not the right time, this, that, and the other, you might want to re-explore that belief. You might want to re-explore that thought and ask yourself, is that true or is that my mind? Is that fear? What would you do if you knew it was impossible to fail? and then move in that direction. And that's how you'll get more in touch with the cosmic beings, because you're listening to their messages. Okay? Let's see. Brianisha is asking, can you tell me what my spirit guides want me to know? Exactly what I just said. They want you to act on your intuition. It's exactly that. That's literally the message. To act on your intuition. They want you to act on your intuition so that you can see for yourself the ability, the magic that you have inside. And you don't so much need confirmation from the outside. Now, there's nothing wrong with looking for confirmation and asking for someone to confirm your intuition. Sometimes that's a great way to build up our confidence or an intuition. But the idea is not to be addicted to confirmation, to use that as a reason not to take action on the intuition. All right, that's the subtlety. So, but that's what they're wanting you to know. They're wanting you to act on your intuition because you already have certain intuitions inside of you. I could see them that you're not acting on for whatever reason. And so the idea is not to be hard on yourself about that, not to judge yourself for it, but rather to just be like, oh yeah, that's true. There are some things. Okay, let me move towards them. Let me move in the direction of a lighter feeling, and let me playfully go towards this. All right, the idea, this is supposed to be fun. It's a dance. Life isn't a journey. There's no destination. It's a dance. We're dancing. We're dancing with energy. We're dancing with spirit. We're dancing with excitement, dancing with inspiration, all those things. It feels good, right? So dance with the energies. Let's see. I don't understand that question. Hold on. How to come from an energy that you have to let go, but you're in love and the energy don't go to shut down? I don't understand the question, but I'm going to take a guess. So my guess on what you're saying, because I feel like this will relate to a lot of people, is how do you let go when it's time to let go? Maybe of a relationship or of work or whatever. How do you let go when you also feel so much love for the person you're with? And my simple answer to that is self-honesty. It's recognizing, let's say it's a relationship, and because I feel like that's what you're speaking to. Like, how do you let go of a relationship, but you also love the person and you don't want to hurt them, and whatever case may be? Self-honesty. And what I mean by that is this. Recognize, are you staying in the relationship out of fear or out of love? Meaning, are you just staying there because you're afraid to let go? Because if that's your reason for staying in the relationship at this point, because you're afraid to hurt, because you're afraid to let go, then what you're in a relationship with is not the person. You're in a relationship with fear. You're choosing fear, which is actually causing more pain to you and the other person because you're staying in a relationship with fear. Now, on the other side, if you know it's time to let go in your heart, and you know that's the best thing for you and ultimately the other person, because whatever's in your highest interest is always in everyone else's highest interest. Always. Whatever's in your highest good is in everyone's highest good, 100% of the time. So if you know it's time to let go and you feel that in your heart, that's an act of love. That's recognizing that even if it's scary, even if it hurts, even if you're going to go through things, the best way that you can love yourself and the other person is to let go. That's choosing love. All right? Don't get it twisted with attachment. That's truly choosing love. So it's asking yourself, are you in a relationship with love or with fear right now? Because when you're in a relationship with love, you'll know it. The relationship feels expansive. The relationship amplifies you. The relationship makes you feel like more of yourself. It's a joy to be there. It's from a place of your own freedom. You choose to be there over and over and over and over again. That's love. That's dancing with love. But if you're in a relationship because you feel like you have to, or you're afraid of hurting, or because you don't want to leave, or you don't know what you'll do, and all these things, just know that you're in a relationship with fear, and that's not love. All right, doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Sometimes it takes time, but just be honest with yourself. Bring consciousness to what you're doing so that you can navigate yourself correctly. Let's see. Amanda's asking, do you have any insight on vibrations? And what does it actually mean to be high vibration? As in, how do you know if you are or are not? That's a great question. So let's simplify. To be in a high vibration is basically your mood. Your vibe is it's like your emotional state. It's your mood. You know, when you say someone's like, oh, that person's on a good vibe, or I feel good vibes over here, right? Oh, I don't like the vibes over there. That's speaking about high and low vibrations. So high vibrations are the ones that make you feel alive, or the ones that make you feel liberated, excitement, joy, passion, creativity, love, curiosity, encouragement, inspiration. Mm, what so those higher feelings, those are high vibration feelings because they make you feel high, they make you feel alive, they give you good vibes. Low vibration is, for example, poor me, the world's against me, nobody wants to be my friend. um, I don't know why this always happens to me. That's a low vibration. Okay, that because you feel heavy. So basically it's, do you feel heavy or do you feel light? Do you feel alive or do you feel dead? you know, that's really the understanding of vibrations, to simplify it. Now, frequency is also a different thing. Frequency, so there's vibrations and there's frequency. So vibration, your vibe, how you feel. Your frequency is how free you feel in your spirit. Or another way of looking at that is if vibrations is how you feel, frequency is how you look at things. So for example, if you go through a breakup and you're feeling low vibration because you're in pain, and I want to emphasize this, there's nothing wrong with being in a low vibration or a low frequency. High vibration isn't better than a low vibration. Sometimes it's important to surf the waves. What matters is actually your frequency. So let's say you go through a breakup and you're just feeling heartbroken and you're feeling sad, and if you were looking at that from a low frequency, you might be like, no one's going to want to be with me again. My life is over. That kind of talk. That's a low frequency way of looking at things. Now, a high frequency, you could be in a low vibration and a high frequency and be like, you know what? I know I'm in a lot of pain and this really fucking hurts, but I know this serves a higher purpose. I know that she's going to be, or he's going to be happy. I know that I know I did the right thing. That's a high frequency way of looking at a lower vibration. Okay, does that make sense? So frequency is the way you look at things. And when I say that, it's also how free you feel in your spirit. When you start to really embody the energy of your spirit and you're living at the speed of your spirit, living at the speed of your intuition and your inspiration and excitement, moment to moment to moment, then you're living in a very high frequency state, because that means you're constantly seeing things from a high frequency perspective. All right, so hopefully that gives some clarity on vibration and frequency for you guys. It's not so much about keeping the low frequency away, it's just asking yourself, does it serve you? Because for example, seriousness is a lower frequency than playfulness, right? If you're very serious about something, that doesn't mean it's anything bad. You just might feel serious. But if you go into a state of playfulness, that's a higher frequency. You feel lighter, you feel more expansive, you feel more in the flow. So you could see more. When you're playful, you could see more. So if when you're serious, as an example, let's say your consciousness is this size. This is the frequency of serious consciousness. Then you go into playfulness, you have this size consciousness. So all the extra other elements, all the extra thoughts that were over here, you now have access to. So that's a higher frequency consciousness. All right, let's see if there's anything else. I'm not answering any questions about hypnosis. That's not what this is about. So if you're asking questions about hypnosis, I'll kindly ask you to refer to my other videos. If you really want to learn about hypnosis, I have a video called, I think it's called How to Hypnotize Someone the Easy Way. It's a 1 hour long free training video on my YouTube. So if you want to learn hypnosis, check that video out. How to Hypnotize Someone the Easy Way. It's about an hour long. Let's see. That's an interesting question. Can you open your third eye while eating meat? Absolutely. Of course. Yeah. My third eye is very open and I eat whatever I want. I understand what you're asking. So it's not about what you eat or what you do. It's about alignment. It's about listening to your intuition. So your body has its own intuition, and your body's intuition might want to just be vegan. And it's about being honest with yourself. You know, like, if your body wants vegan food and you're choosing to eat McDonald's, then you're not honoring your body. But let's just say you're a vegan, right? Let's say you're a vegan, but for some reason your body really wants some bacon. Well, and your mind might be like, no, but bacon is bad and all these things about it. And, you know, the way pigs are killed is wrong and all these things. While those things may be true, if your body is asking for something, if your body's intuition has a light feeling, has an excitement towards eating bacon, as an example, then that means it's in alignment. So if it's in alignment, then that means it's for you. That means magic, magic will happen. Your body needs that thing, and it's just taking the path of least resistance to give you what you need. There's nothing wrong with any food. And with that said, as you raise your frequency, as you raise your vibration, as you embody more of your soul and your spirit, you'll naturally eat healthier. You're naturally going to want to eat healthier because that's going to be what your body craves. You know, so I personally eat predominantly vegan just because that's what's around me. I don't really cook, but the people around me cook vegan. But I have no problem going to, like, when I go to A&W and I get a Beyond Meat burger, I always get it with bacon because I love bacon. You know, that's my excitement. So it has nothing to do with what you eat or what you don't eat. It has to do with alignment. It has to do with listening to your own intuition. Always. What is the process in getting guides to help you and connect with you? Is it the vibration and frequency? So I already kind of answered this question before, but I'll touch on it again briefly. And it's basically acting on your intuitions and inspirations. So when you receive guidance from the universe in the form of inspiration, in the form of excitement, because excitement is also guidance. Remember, the cosmic beings, your higher self, the language that your guides and your higher self, more so your higher self, speaks to you is in the language of vibration. So they're going to speak to you with emotions that they think that you're going to like. Your higher self will speak to you with excitement, passion, joy, creativity, love, inspiration. So whenever you feel those sensations, when you feel excitement, that's also intuition. It's not just excitement. That's your higher self, your future self saying this way. So when you act on intuition, when you act on inspiration, when you act on excitement, when you act on any of those higher feelings, then what you're doing is you're infusing yourself with those higher frequencies and bringing yourself to a level where you could be more perceptive of your spirit guides and angels. All right. So it's acting on those energies, acting on those frequencies. And if you want, I did make a video called How to Communicate with Your Spirit Guides. It's on my channel. It's only a few minutes long. It's extremely practical exercise that you can do right away. As soon as you watch the video, you'll be able to start doing it. I give you a very practical tool and exercise to start communicating with your spirit guides. You're going to love it. Check it out. All right. All good, Terry. All right, I'll take a few more questions, then I'm going to jump off. Again, guys, if you smash that like button, that really helps me out. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe as well as hit the bell icon, because I don't normally announce when I'm going live. I just show up. So if you want to be notified when I do go live, so you can join in whenever I'm doing activations, meditations, and just lots of magic, just hit the bell icon next to my subscribe button. Leonie asks, what is your intention? Love. Love. Really simply, is love. My highest excitement is love. My highest passion is love. Love. That's as simple as that. From one perspective, love is all there is. And I don't mean to get super cheesy with it, but that's it. What other intention? My intention is always the highest good, the highest light, the highest love, the highest laughter, the highest love. Always, 100% of the time. Mm-mm-mm. If you have a belief, do you stick to it, or stick to it but not follow the way of it, if that makes sense? I understand what you're trying to ask. So if you have a belief, do you stick with it, or do you basically let it go, is the way I understand that. And the answer is, how does it serve you? If your belief is causing you heaviness, it's making you feel heavy, then that means you have a limiting belief. If your belief is making you feel light and expansive, that's a great belief. So for example, if you believe in miracles, you believe in magic, you believe in love, those are great beliefs. If you believe the world is against you, if you believe that nobody will like you, that's not the greatest belief. It's a limiting belief. So pay attention to the feeling in the beliefs so that you can know if it's actually your belief. Because a lot of the beliefs that people have are not actually your beliefs. They're beliefs that were spoon-fed to you by your parents, by society, by your culture. Okay, you were given beliefs in your head. And so part of your job as a spirit, as a soul, if you're on the spiritual path, is to recognize which beliefs are actually yours by removing the ones that are heavy. And the way that you can remove a belief is by asking yourself if it's true. So for example, let's say you have the belief that nobody likes you, right? Well, you have to go into that belief and ask it, okay, I believe that nobody likes me. Is that really true? Is that really inherently true? And obviously the answer will be no. So then you go layer deeper and be like, okay, well then why am I believing that? What is that belief? And then what might come up will be fear, and be like, well, I'm afraid of people. I'm afraid of being judged. Now you're starting to uncover why you had that belief in the first place. You're starting to see how that belief is an illusion, right? You're like, well, actually, I'm afraid that I'll be judged. And so then you could start to dive into that and be like, okay, so you have a fear of being judged. Well, what if you actually end up inspiring? Because if you're going to look at the negative, you have to look at the positive too. Because yeah, sure, you might be judged, sure, but you also might inspire. You also might connect and meet all kinds of new friends. You might bring joy. So if you're going to look at the negative, just make sure you look at the positive too, and then just choose which one you want to align with, right? It's like, I know so many people who are like, I'm afraid to make videos. I'm afraid to make videos and talk about my spiritual gifts or talk about my joys and post them online because I'm afraid people will judge me. I'm afraid people won't like it, or I'll judge myself. And what I always say to that is, yeah, but what if it inspires somebody? What if it inspires just one person? Would that be worth it? If you could change even just one person's life? What if by you giving yourself permission to do something that you're afraid of and to face your fears of judgment inspires someone else to do the same thing because they're like, whoa, that person just faced their fears. I can do it too, right? So you got to choose what you want to align with, the positive or the negative. And because there's nothing wrong with it. I'm sure I get tons of, I wouldn't be surprised if I get tons of negative comments, but I don't look at it and I don't care because it has nothing to do with me, right? I do this because this is who I am. I do this because I love it. I'm like the sun. We're all like the sun. I'm just here to shine. And if as a side effect it heals you, it inspires you, it brings joy, then amazing. But I'm not necessarily here because I want to help you guys, even if that sounds funny. Like, I'm not trying to save anybody. I'm just here to be me. I'm shining. And that is, at the end of the day, your only purpose. Your only purpose in life is to shine, just like the sun, to be the unique you as fully as you can be, as alive as you can be. to be fully expressed in who you are. That's you being the sun, that's you shining. And then as a side effect, you're going to heal people, you're going to inspire people, you're going to bring joy without even trying, just by being you. All right, so that's your purpose in a nutshell. All right, a couple more questions, then I'm going to jump off. What if you already let the moment pass on an intuition and you no longer feel the urge to act even though you feel that you should have? Should you still act on it or accept that moment has passed? That's a great question. Usually in that circumstance, if you feel and know that the moment has passed, then that's also your intuition telling you that the moment has passed, right? So then the idea is to be open to the next step. So if you know, I don't know, I started off with a story earlier about like when I started this live, I started off this story where I had the intuition to go meditate on a rock. Now, let's say I didn't act on that intuition. Would it, then the moment would have passed. The next day would have rolled around, the moment would have passed. It wouldn't have been the same if I just went to sit on the rock and like, okay, I'm here now. But the idea is that your spirit guides, your angels, they're never going to give up on you. They love you unconditionally. They support you unconditionally. So even if you did miss that intuition, they're just going to creatively come up with a new one and give you new guidance. Okay, like, okay, so this moment passed, here's the new intuition. Let's see if she'll act on this one. Let's see if he'll act on this one. All right, so just be open. Instead of beating yourself up for not following an intuition that may have passed, just be open to the new one that's already there waiting for you, and you'll receive it right away. All right, but let go of the old one first. Let go and let in. Let go and let God. Sorry to spam my question, but is it normal to have huge emotional regressions to a younger time when you start really tapping into your gifts and healing? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very, and I didn't see your question before, by the way. It's very normal and natural that as you start waking up, that old emotions will surface so that they can purify, they can release. Because here's what happens. Here's what happens. Let me break it down for you. As you grow as a soul, as you grow in a being, and you start to raise your vibration, any stuck heavy emotions that are inside of you that people call traumas or emotional wounds, any stuck heavy emotions, those are like rocks. And then at a certain point, your vibration can't go any higher until you release these things. So what the universe will do is it'll start to surface these emotions, these old traumas, so that you can look at them and see the truth in them, because there's something that happened here that when you were 3 years old or whatever it was, you saw things in a certain way. You believed things through a fear-based perspective. But now, as it surfaces, and you look at it through wiser eyes, you can see new perspectives. You have the opportunity to see new perspectives, and as soon as you do, and this is a process, as soon as you can see the purpose and you can heal these emotions, what that also does is it releases the trapped emotions and also your gifts. Because what happens is when you experience a trauma, it causes a bit of a trap in your system. It traps in the pain so you don't have to feel it, but it also traps in your gifts. There's aspects of your innocence, aspects of your joy, aspects of your freedom that get trapped in here as well. So when you heal yourself and you do self-healing in that way, which is generally through 3 steps: understand, accept, forgive. Those are the 3 steps to permanently release emotional baggage, which is another word for karma. Understand, accept, forgive. Understand the purpose that you serve. What was the higher purpose? I'll share one of mine. When I was younger, I used to have a lot of resent towards my father because I saw him do a lot of messed up things. I saw him hurt my mom. He broke a lot of promises to me. He cheated on women. And so it caused a lot of pain to me, to my mom. And so I had a lot of resent towards him. I had a heavy feeling inside of me. And so as my vibration was raising, at some point, in order for me to go to the next level, this needed to surface. And so when it surfaced, of course, it's uncomfortable. But now through wiser eyes, I was able to look at it and be like, okay, let me apply understand, accept, forgive. So step 1, understand. Understand the purpose that it truly served by asking yourself, well, how did this thing make you a better purpose? How did this thing make you a better person? What did it teach you the importance of in your life? What values did it give you? And so when I looked at that, I'm like, okay, how did it make me a better person? Well, it made me someone who really cares about growing myself, of being the best person I could be, of being really good to women, really honoring women, not being a cheater. It basically made me want to, it gave me, it made me, it installed within me so powerfully all these great qualities because I saw what I didn't want. And I also saw that had he not hurt me in that way, because I looked up to my dad so much, I would have become someone like him because I looked up to him. I would have become a womanizer and a cheater and all these things. So then I saw the purpose. I was like, oh, whoa, I didn't see this when I was 3 years old or 4 years old. So now I'm understanding the purpose. And you know that you start to understand the purpose when you start to feel lighter about it and you start to even feel grateful that these things happened. You're like, oh, whoa, no, I'm actually happy that this happened because then I wouldn't be the person that I am. I wouldn't have these values, these qualities. So now you have understanding. Once you have understand, second step is accept. Accepting that whatever happened needed to happen in the way that it happened. Otherwise, you wouldn't be the person that you are. You wouldn't have received those gifts. You wouldn't receive those lessons. And that comes very easily once you have the understanding. So once you have the understanding, you're like, yeah, no, I'm happy that this happened because it served so much purpose. He's out of our life. I'm this kind of man. Whatever the things are, I accept that this needed to happen. And then the third and final step is forgive. And it's not just forgiving the people involved, but what's most important is forgiving yourself. And that's the thing that a lot of people miss. It's forgiving yourself for not knowing any better, for not realizing. For all this time, you thought you had so much resent and so much hate and so much anger, and you felt all these ways, but you didn't know any better. Because once you understood the purpose and you realize, wait, no, this is a great thing, you could just say, oh, wow, I didn't know. I don't need to carry this anymore. I forgive myself for feeling this way. I forgive myself for feeling these things, and I forgive him or her or whoever, because I realized that he or she was just doing what they could to the best of their ability. Everyone is always acting to the best of their ability, even if it's shitty. So it's also recognizing, like, yeah, that's also just part of his path. Because had he not done that, I wouldn't be me. So I forgive him too. And as soon as you find true forgiveness, you release the karma. You instantly release the emotional baggage. And then that heaviness dissolves and you release the joy and the magic and the gifts and the innocence that was inside as well. And you reclaim more of your soul. You reclaim more of your essence. And this is where your gifts and abilities will start to come more online. Because a lot of people's spiritual gifts and abilities are trapped inside of their traumas. And so through the process of self-healing and expansion, you're freeing those things that were once trapped, becoming more of a whole being, turning your gifts back online. And that's the process of healing. All right. So hope that answered your question. I don't even remember what the question was anymore, but I believe that was an answer to the question. So do we forget what we forgive? Or maybe you can answer tomorrow. No, you don't forget. And there's no need to forget. Because when you truly forgive, you have a different perspective now. You've just changed the storyline in your head. You're no longer telling the same story. You're no longer saying it from a heavy place. Oh, he did this to me. When you forgive, you're going to tell the story differently. You're like, yeah, no, this actually really helped me. The same way I just told that story about my father and what happened in my life. I didn't forget, but I forgave. You're going to tell the story differently. All right. So I'm going to jump off real soon. I'll take one more question. I hope this is really helpful for you guys. This is some good stuff coming out over here. I'll take one more question. Good night, Shoshana. Let's see. I'll take one more question. When you aligned, oh, it's Tamim. What's up, Tamim? When you aligned yourself deeply, what was the magic in you saying? I don't fully understand the question. What was the magic in you saying? Maybe you could rephrase that. Allow yourself to... Okay, I'm going to answer this question because I see it happening over and over again. How to do magic. How to do magic. So it's not about how to do... I'm going to answer this in a unique way. It's not about how to do magic. It's how to be magic. Okay, because you are the magic that you're looking for. The idea is that the more you step into higher states, higher vibrations, higher energies of yourself by following your intuition, by following your inspiration, by following your excitement, which are magic energies that are coming from your higher self, from your guides, from God. When you act on the magic energies, you become more magic. And when I say you become more magic, I literally mean that you feel like magic and your magic gifts and abilities turn on. You know, one of the reasons why I'm so psychic or why I'm a channeler, I could do energy magic or energy healing and all these things, isn't because I'm more special than other people. We all have access to these things. These things are your birthright. The difference is that, one, I've spent lifetimes and upon lifetimes doing this, and two, I act on my excitement every moment. I live through my inspiration. I don't do anything in my life that's not inspired or intuitive, ever. Zero. I don't do anything that I don't want to do, that I'm not called to do intuitively. If it's not intuitive, if it's not inspired, if it's not exciting, I don't do it, period. And so through that practice of embodying more magical energies, then, oh, let me just close this. Through that practice of embodying more magical energies, you start to become magic and your magical abilities turn on naturally. And what's beautiful about it is it feels like remembering. It doesn't feel like you're learning anything new. You're just remembering what you may have forgotten. Because when your gifts and abilities turn on, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. This is how I used to play as a kid. Or it just feels very natural. So the way to do magic is to become magic. And the way to become magic is to listen to your excitement, listen to your joy, listen to your intuition, listen to your inspiration, regardless of how the path looks. Not letting your guilt get in the way, not letting your people pleasing get in the way. It's choosing yourself. It's honoring yourself, honoring your spirit, because that's your first relationship, right? Your first relationship is between you and the inner you. That has to be your first relationship, your first love, your first marriage. When you unite, when you strengthen that relationship, all your gifts and magic comes back online, because when you start to dance with your spirit, you gain your spiritual abilities. But there needs to be a union between you and your spirit. All right. And if you want assistance with this, go on my YouTube channel. There is a video called Soul Magic. I believe it's called Soul Magic, how to access your spiritual gifts or how to activate your spiritual gifts, but it's called Soul Magic. So type in Soul Magic and I lead you through an activation to awaken your gifts. And that could be something very useful for you. All right. So again, guys, I got the light leader crew here. We got Tamim, we got Kyle, we got Judy. What's up? So again, guys, thank you for being here with me. I love you so much. This was a lot of fun for me. Again, if you don't want to miss my lives when I start, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button, and then you'll get notified. And that's it. All right. So lots of love, guys. Hope you got a lot out of this. If you missed the beginning, you're going to want to go back and watch it, because there was a lot of good gems over there about messages from your guides and taking this thing called the slight advantage. And I know you're going to appreciate it. All right. Lots of love. Talk to you soon.